Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed and tonight we're going to focus on a very important topic, which is the efforts of Egypt, and not just Egypt, but the Arab and the Islamic countries being represented at the level of the Arab League, the Organization of Islamic Conference, and the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, as well the foreign ministers of all the Arab and the Islamic countries. The announcement to the statements of Israel and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about a greater Israel. The announcement came as unacceptable by Egypt and the rest of the Arab and the Islamic countries. But we'll be starting straight away with the main top stories for today, as Cairo reiterated the full rejection of the forced deportation of the Palestinians and called on all the countries not to take part in this crime. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said that Egypt has been following up with great concern the reports of the Israeli consultations with some countries to accept the deportation of Palestinians to the lands within Israeli plans to empty the Palestinian lands in order to occupy them and liquidate the Palestinian cause. The statement said that Egypt renewed the clear-cut rejection to any Israeli plans to deport the Palestinian people away from the historical lands, either in Gaza or the West Bank, under any excuses, whether forcibly or willingly, through starvation, land confiscation or settlement activities that aim to make life impossible for the Palestinians. It said that Egypt will not accept deportation nor take part in it, regarding it a historical injustice without moral or legal justification. Meanwhile, Egypt has dispatched the 16th humanitarian aid convoy to the Gaza Strip through the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing, part of the Zaid al-Izza from Egypt to Gaza initiative launched by the Egyptian Red Crescent on the 27th of July. The convoy trucks are carrying hundreds of tons of medical equipment, relief materials and food supplies, including infant formula, flour, oil, sugar and cheese. Last week, members of the Elders, the International Peace Advocacy Group, visited the warehouses of the Egyptian Red Crescent in Arish, where drivers recounted being turned back multiple times without explanation. Since the 27th of July, Egypt has sent 15 aid convoys in a bid to stem the worsening famine conditions caused by the Israeli total blockade of the Strip, which has killed 251 Palestinians, including 108 children. On Wednesday and Thursday alone, Cairo dispatched the 14th and the 15th convoys, delivering several hundred tons of food, medical supplies and fuel. Egypt has sent 36,000 trucks with more than 500,000 tons of aid since the war began, 70% humanitarian supplies and 30% relief and medical goods. The Egyptian Armed Forces had also conducted multiple aid drops to reach the cut-off areas of Gaza. And for more details and clarification, I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Dr. Ahmed Osama Doma, the member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Dr. Ahmed, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, can you hear me?
I don't hear well.
Dr.
It's
Ahmed,
my pleasure being with you. Yes, I hear you now.
Yes, the pleasure is all mine. Of course, we did see the top stories for today regarding the Egyptian efforts towards the Palestinian cause. One statement by Egypt and the Egyptian Foreign Ministry is to be rejecting the deportation of the Palestinians, the forced displacement of the Palestinians from the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, for the aim of greater Israel, as being described by the Israeli government and the Israeli Foreign Minister, or the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. How do you see the statements today by Egypt regarding those statements?
Egypt, as usual, we have a clear message to the whole world and regarding the Palestinian cause, and the speech done by the Minister of Foreign Affairs is representing and showing the world that we, as Egypt, refusing the dreams of the Israeli Prime Minister, who is very extremist, as his speech by building up for and looking for the greater Israel is a violent and like a word of war against the whole region. Our speech by the Minister of Foreign Affairs is clear, as Egypt, as usual, standing for the Palestinian cause, for our Palestinian people there in Gaza, in the West Bank, for what's the rest of Palestine after the occupation of the Israeli policy. And we are now with the convoys of the humanitarian aids from Egypt to Gaza. At the same time, we are, hopefully it will not be done, that the Israeli cabinet announced that they will control all over Gaza. So it needs a lot of efforts from the regional countries and from the global community to stop the violation and to stop the aggression as soon as possible, and to try to cease fire during this very critical time.
Yes, Dr. Abu Doma, you've mentioned a very important topic, which is the efforts of Egypt to be helping the Palestinians stuck in the Gaza Strip through the humanitarian aid, through the 16th convoy aid trucks being reaching by the Egyptian Red Crescent into the Gaza Strip through the Rafah border crossing. How do you see the importance of those aid convoys sent by Egypt with medical supplies, with food supplies to the Gaza Strip and the Palestinians in Palestine in general?
It's a matter of the responsibility of Egypt toward the people in Gaza and the West Bank who are suffering. They didn't have any kind of medical services. We couldn't do more. That we can, this continuous supply of humanitarian aids with medical settlements, with medical services, with the feeding people there. It's very important to support and to help to rescue people from dying there under this very horrible situation in Gaza. Egypt, as usual, standing to help and to try to make, at the same time, reconciliation between the Palestinians group, Fatah and Hamas and the other groups there, in the same time trying to work on the reconciliation and to cease fire and to find a kind of peace agreement with the Israeli side, which is very tough, but Egypt is continuously trying and trying and trying without giving up. And this is highly appreciated, and it reflects the real responsibility of Egypt, the real support of Egypt, and this is denying all of the lies and false news have been done against Egypt from such groups from the opposition.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed Osama Abu Doma, the member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and the Daily Debate. We will be heading to the first report of the program for tonight, focusing, as I mentioned, in the beginning, the rejection of Egypt, the rejection of the Arab states being represented at the level of the Arab League, the organization of the Islamic Conference, the foreign ministers of the Gulf Cooperation Council, the rejection of all those entities and international organizations against or rejection for the statements of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the dreams, as being called by Dr. Ahmed Osama Abu Doma, the dreams of Israel to be having a greater Israel. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Foreign ministers from Egypt and 31 Arab and Islamic countries condemned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent remarks about pursuing a greater Israel, warning that Israel's policies pose a grave threat to regional security and international law. In a joint statement issued Saturday, the ministers described Netanyahu's comments as a dangerous violation of international law and a direct threat to regional security, a blatant disregard for international norms and provocation that undermines Arab national security, state sovereignty and global stability. The bloc reaffirmed its commitment to the United Nations UN Charter, citing Article 2, which prohibits the use or threat of force against territorial integrity. Signatories included Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Algeria, Turkey, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Palestine, alongside the Secretaries General of the Arab League, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the Gulf Cooperation Council. The condemnation followed Netanyahu's interview with Israeli channel, where he said he was very much attached to the vision of Greater Israel, describing himself as being on a historic and spiritual mission. The statement also denounced Israeli finance minister's approval of a controversial settlement plan in the E1 area. The Arab Islamic bloc called the plan a flagrant violation of international law and an attack on Palestinian right to an independent Palestinian state based on 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. The ministers warned of catastrophic consequences if Israel presses ahead with annexation and settlement expansion, citing threats to Islamic and Christian holy sites, foremost among them Al-Aqsa Mosque. Such actions, they said, directly fuel cycles of violence and conflict and undermine prospects for achieving just and comprehensive peace in the region. In Gaza, the statement reiterated its condemnation of Israel's genocide crimes and ethnic cleansing, calling for an immediate ceasefire, unrestricted humanitarian access, the lifting of the blockade, and Arab Islamic-led reconstruction efforts, while rejecting any post-war scenarios that exclude the Palestinian Authority. The ministers urged the international community, particularly the UN Security Council and the United States, to compel Israel to hold its genocide stop, inciting statements, and provide international protection for Palestinians. They further called for enabling Palestinians to exercise their legitimate rights, foremost among them the right to establish their independent sovereign state on their national soil.